Hi, I'm Kate.
And I'm Phil.
And this is The Underground, where we discover the trailblazers and innovators shaping the future of garden care in the UK. So, without further ado, let's get down and dirty.
So this is big news, Kate. We're the official podcast partner of Glee this year. And so if you don't know, Glee is the UK's leading garden and outdoor living trade show.
We're the official podcast partner of Glee, which is fantastic because Glee is celebrating its 50th year this year. But what does being the official podcast actually mean? Well, over the next few weeks, we'll be releasing some very special episodes which all relate to Glee in some way or other.
Glee can be a bit full on, a bit of an assault on the senses, and like any exhibition, it can be quite exhausting. So this week, we have a special show that's been many months in the making. We've been asking our guests to share their best Glee survival tips, and we've created this compilation to help you get the most from your Glee experience.
To kick off, here's the wonderful Vicky Nuttall sharing her best Glee survival tips.
Yeah, I mean, I've been attending Glee since 2001, so over 20 years. So I think my top tips, comfortable shoes and drink plenty of water, actually. I think those environments are so drying, and you're talking a lot. So yeah, drink lots of water and wear comfortable shoes. And I still get caught out by the shoe element as well. And also as an exhibitor, make time to follow up on all of your leads as well, because otherwise what's the point?
Hi, I'm Linda Petrons. I'm from Green Fingers Charity. For me, it's wearing the most comfortable pair of shoes you can possibly wear. So it's trainers all the way. And I don't know whether it's an age thing, but I tend to go for Skechers because they have the most cushioning. And I tend to bring a couple of pairs because it's good to change shoes in between. In fact, I know that you've recently interviewed Vicky Nuttall from GEMA. I had to lend her a pair of shoes one year, a few years ago, because she suffered with blisters. So I came to her rescue, which was quite funny.
Oh, no. She didn't tell us that one. So actually, I've got a new business idea, Phil. I think we should set up a little shoe stand at Glee, selling comfy trainers or leasing them, a shoe lease scheme.
I tell you what I didn't mention about Glee is Floral Thursday.
Yes.
So on the last day of Glee, the halls go floral. We call it Floral Thursday. So we ask everybody exhibiting or everybody visiting to come along dressed in their best or worst floral attire. It creates such an exciting buzz around the halls. It's on the last day when everyone's really tired, adds a bit of fun to the occasion, which is really good.
How do you raise money through that, Linda?
So as people enter the halls, we sell raffle tickets, and then we do a big draw at lunchtime when the best and the worst dressed team or individual are presented with an award. Yeah, so that's a brilliant day to be at Glee.
Hi, I'm Toby Thomas, co-founder and managing director at Rocket Grow Peat-Free Compost. Glee it's a wonderful experience, but it's absolutely exhausting. It's so tiring. I ran a half marathon before COVID, and that was easier than handling Glee. It really was. So, for example, for Rocket Grow, I create the stand, I help build the stand, and then I man the stand for 3 days. And it's too much. I think if you've got a team, segregate the roles, split it up, have multiple bodies coming in and out, give people a lunch break.
Hi, I'm Michael Perry, also known as Mr. Plant Geek. I have to say Glee is small when you compare this to IPM in Essen, which is in Germany, which is like 12 halls. Or even ones in China in the Canton. These are even bigger. So, yeah, shoes is obvious. This is such a cool question, by the way. I think, there's a whole batch of stuff that you really need. Like, you're going to need business cards. Like, I would always carry my temporary phone charger, like literally in my pocket so I can keep on the go. So make sure you got a temporary phone charger that is relatively small and compact as well. I've spent years kind of wondering if I'm going to write notes on paper and then take pictures with my phone. But ultimately, it's better to do everything on your phone because you realize after a while you haven't got enough hands to do what you need to do. So I would say notes on phone. Ideally, if the note is in an image, that's even better as well. I would say also, like, always write up your notes or kind of act on your notes as soon as possible as well, because there's nothing worse than getting back from a trade show. And I don't know how it happens, but you cannot remember why you wrote something down or like why you've got someone's business card. So always make those notes on the spot, because as much as you think you'll remember, you really won't, because so much happens in that week that the first person you stopped at, you probably stopped at 200 by the time you got to the end of it. So yeah, I would say that. And I would always follow up with people. It's funny because you generally, I guess people get a lot of different inquiries. So you generally might not hear back from most of those people, but I think it's always nice and polite to then follow up that you have just met them, make the connection, kind of like, because that keeps you memorable in some way. And it's also just cute and polite as well. So yeah, I think that would be my tips really.
Hi, I'm Jane Hartley, Brand Portfolio Manager for our growing categories at Evergreen Garden Care. Wear comfortable shoes because you're going to be on your feet a hell of a lot. The other thing that I would suggest is stretch. Do a little bit of yoga because I found over the years, and I must have gone to probably about 20 odd Glee shows, that it kills your back. It absolutely kills your back. So it's important to look after yourself. Well, there's been a few occasions, I mean, we don't have it anymore, but that we used to have a cupboard that we put all of our bags and things on our stand. And there'd be so many times people would come in and I'd be doing a little yoga move on the floor just to try and sort of stretch my back out, because it's just like there's a lot of socializing in the evenings, which is great. But, make sure that you can survive another day of, standing on a stand. But also it's a great opportunity to do networking as well, talking to colleagues, finding out what's happening within their organizations and as what I've mentioned before is that it's a really friendly industry. It's a lovely industry. And, there's lots of new and exciting initiatives that are coming through. And it's really important to take time to talk to people and find out what they're doing, because actually you can see, real partnerships developing as a result of that. And certainly when I was exploring the halls, looking at sort of sustainability initiatives, I would spot something and pop on the stand and talk to people and sort of find out. I know I was certainly doing that when I was looking at the refill stations that we were developing and, that I've worked on over the years. So, really make the most of if you can, going around the halls and talking to other businesses.
Love that. I like, so far Phil and I have got some little mini businesses we're going to set up at Glee. So one is a shoe hire stand, so comfortable shoes. And now I like the idea we could offer like 10-minute workshops of yoga.
Yoga sessions, yes.
Yoga and Tai Chi sessions.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we could do it in the morning as everyone comes in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Bit of Tai Chi, bit of yoga.
Can I add some more things in that case? Because I think you should also be aware, because these days you're probably, obviously, I would never carry another camera around because you can usually take a good enough picture on your phone, but be prepared that the shot that you take of that picture might be the shot you then use to launch the product, because you know how that works. But also wear a nice outfit, because there's potential that you're going to be grabbed to be in lots of pictures as you go around, potentially. Or you might want a picture with a certain product, to kind of think about what outfit you're going to wear as well. So that, and obviously an outfit that kind of gives across the right impression about you as well, because you will be meeting different people for the first time as well. So, yeah.
I'm Simon Taylor of Plantworks, producers of the Empathy brand. And here's my tips for Glee. It's not always about the footfall. It's about the opportunities that may come along. And sometimes I can take a team of people to a trade show and you think, oh, it's been quiet today. But there'll always be something. There'll always be something that comes along that either pays for the show itself, or is an opportunity you would not have got if you weren't at that trade show. And that's kind of the key. But with regards to how you present yourself, it's just making sure that your brand stands out, and that you're making a decent fist of it. That you haven't done it on a shoestring, making a good impression. And I think it's an opportunity to reinforce your message, reinforce your position in the marketplace, and hopefully the people that attend the trade shows, the places like Glee, they're buyers, sometimes international buyers. They're from the big garden centre groups, and it's just reiterating your message and making sure they know that you're still there and you're still battling away to get your products placed where they need to be placed. And I think it's about continuity of message as well. We have always tried to follow the ethos that we are the biological company. And I actually think maybe 10 years ago, people would say, oh, that's the biology company, the tree huggers. That sort of thing. And now I think they look and they go, oh, that's the biology company. They are, they're pretty serious players. They kind of like, people seem to trust what they're doing. They seem they're still there. How have they done that? There
must be something in it.
Yeah, there must be something in that. Yeah, I mean, one person sometimes says to me, "Yeah, you're the industry's best kept secret." I think they like it that way. If I had a couple of £1 million to go and spend on marketing, I think it might change the face of things. There's one last little thing. I often say to the guys when we're working on the stand, we don't go early, we stay till the last bell, because it was about sort of 10, 12 years ago. We were at Glee. We had a 3x3 metre stand, a little tiny stand, and it was 4:45, just before the bell was about to ring, and nobody was walking by. And this chap walked by and he's engaged in conversation with me. And well-spoken English guy. Turned out he actually had an online business in Germany. Okay. We started to talk, and it turned out that the town that he lived in was just outside of the twin town of the town I was brought up in. And he then said to me, I've always wondered why in that town there are 2 red telephone boxes. And I said, I can tell you why there's 2 red telephone boxes in that town in southern Germany. I said, it's because it's the twin town of where I was brought up. I said, and my father installed them. So it's a really weird conversation. Sat there 15 minutes, got past, everybody exit the hall, sort of thing. And I said, anyway, back to your business. And he said, yeah, I want some of your product now. He said, I'm going to start selling it online. He's been a customer for 10 years. And he sells root grow to everybody in southern Germany. So it's just a lovely little story about a trade show that you think, never think that, doing a trade show is not worthwhile, because invariably there's something that's going to happen that creates a story. And that's, I think, why I enjoy them most. You never know who's going to come on the stand next,
Love it. Wonderful.
And also, I think there's always the fact you're worried you won't have enough time. But the thing is, you'll generally fit it into what time you've got, because there will always be more to see, even if you have a week, if you see what I mean. So, yeah, but I do like, when I have got the time, forcing myself to walk in halls that are of no interest to me, because you never know what that sparks. Like machinery halls at IPM in Germany, like I'll still walk around them, because you never know what you're going to see. Or, in the past, maybe I've seen I think specifically in Hall 1 in Germany, I've seen like a new primrose, like, in a plantation on a machinery stand. And I wouldn't have seen that if I was in one of the other halls. So, yeah, don't assume that you know everything that's there.
No,
Yeah.
that's really good. It's easy to just think, oh no, I'm not going to bother with that. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I love it.
So I'm Kate Evans. I mean, I've done Glee for no, 24 years.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
And I've been pregnant through 2 of them. And so smile and make sure you've got a rescue kit that works for you.
Ah, so what would be in your rescue kit, Kate?
In my rescue kit, ginger.
Right.
I thought you were going to say gin. That would be in mine.
That's brilliant. No. Ginger, paracetamol. I've got plasters, lip balm.
Ah, good one. Yes. Yeah.
And a nail file.
Ah.
That is generally
I
what's
love
in mine.
And also, try not to, I know it's difficult, but try not to set up too many set meetings in the day. Because if you've got set points in the day, you probably find, or if you do, take special care that they're not opposite halls or, different ends of the site, because then you'll spend most of your time chasing around to meetings and not actually seeing stuff. So if they can be relatively fluid or all at the beginning of the day in one specific area, that is a good idea, because that is just a big kind of swallows a lot of your time. And also, you need to become the artist of the clipped conversation, which is a conversation like if you see someone you kind of slow down but never stop walking. So keep it as a walking conversation. Yeah. And there might be a hug or something, but kind of like keep moving. Otherwise, because that sweet point in a conversation where if you've spoken 2 paragraphs, you're kind of in for 10 minutes. But if you keep it at 1.5, you're still kind of like chat and go, chat and go, chat and go.
Hi, I'm Matthew Meehan, event director on the Glee exhibition. Yes, do you know the first one is don't drink 4 bottles of wine the day before a show. That's a good survival tip. That won't work. Or a curry, as Boyd would always say, don't have a smelly curry if you're on a stand and you've got customers. That's not always a good one. But no, I think the survival tips, I think if you're a visitor, you're a retailer coming to the show, I think the first one is prepare. Because actually, if you prepare and use the facilities, what we have pre-show, you'll get a lot more out of it. And likewise, the same exhibitor side, it's that kind of old cliche, isn't it? Fail to prepare, prepared to fail. They are the main things that I would say that, to get the most out of your time or investment, just do that. And pace yourself over the show. It's especially if you're there during the build, it's a lot of days obviously spent putting it together, but make sure it's all about the planning with all of it. The people I see the most stressed at the show are the ones that have forgot to order things, and things haven't happened, and they look really stressed, and we try and calm them and help them to find and sort out and find a solution. But that's where sometimes the stress levels will go up. But other than that, no, I think, just pace yourself out over that duration. And actually, whether you're an exhibitor or a visitor, there's lots of rich reward if you do the work. Yeah, and by the way, the other thing I didn't say was lots of water. You need lots of water. Keep yourself hydrated. So, we do the responsible, sustainable thing. So we have water stations, water coolers throughout the show, but you do need to bring your own water bottle.
So do you make sure that people are aware of that?
Yes, we do, and this is a good platform to help do that as well. So as many places as possible, but bring your own water bottle, because you get far much water out of a water bottle than you do in those old plastic cups.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi there, I'm Jane Lawler, business development consultant and member of the HTA Board of Directors. Well, survival in the sense that you have to go back to the office and face the chief executive and justify why you've just spent an eye-watering amount of money and what have you got out of it. So that, to me, is the challenge. Notwithstanding the stand build and point of sale and getting all the product there and booking the hotels and making sure all your sales team don't stay up till 4 a.m. drinking whiskey and all those other things. But no, I think I'm going to come back to my metrics again, and say that you've got to be able to, demonstrate, measure, what you got out of it.
Right.
And for me, that's about data. It's about data collection. So for me, it's making sure that everybody who's on your stand understands what the objective is. And the objective broadly is to talk to as many people as you possibly can about your product, your offer, your proposition, and make sure that you capture the names and telephone numbers and emails and addresses of all of those people, and that you capture some information about what they were interested in and what you spoke about, what questions they asked, and then somebody make sure that the following week you follow it up and go and see them and talk to them and get find out what it is. So that's the story for me. And there's lots of fantastic tools you can use now, fancy gizmos and CRM systems and stuff. But in the end, it all just comes down to making sure that everybody who stands there knows what the objective is, and that somebody then captures it and polices it and makes sure that absolutely every lead is followed up. And not just followed up, but followed up intelligently with an understanding of what the conversation. Because I don't know about you, but when somebody cold calls you and starts trying to sell you something, it's horrible. But when somebody rings you and says, "We spoke 3 weeks ago, and you said that you quite like this thing, and I've got one, and I've got a sample for you. Can I drop it in?" You go, "Oh, wow!" Suddenly becomes interesting.
Yeah, there's a relationship already started.
Yes.
Which I think is really important.
Hello, I'm Megan Warren Davis, and I'm the social media manager for YPHA. My one survival tip would be to talk to as many people as possible. It makes the time go faster, and you learn so much. Even if, they're a bit standoffish at first, they might not want to chat to you, just talk about and find their specialist subject, that one thing that really gets them going, and really bring them out their shell. And it's really lovely when you can meet new friends and make new friends that way, or make new connections like that, and they're really passionate about it.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Hi, I'm Alan Roper, Managing Director of Blue Diamond Garden Centres. Try and avoid talking to people. Well, when I go onto a stand, and I don't wear a badge because I don't want people to know Blue Diamond, because then they'll be all right with you. When I go onto a stand at Glee, I don't want anybody to come over and talk to me about their product, because I want the product on the stand to do the job it's got to do in my stores. So if that product isn't talking to me in the right way through the packaging and the narrative on the packaging, if I can't understand what that product is on their tray stand, I'm not going to buy it.
Okay.
Because I don't have anybody standing in my centres next to their product explaining it to them. So their product, I say to them every time they come to me, I said, "No, so I'm not being rude. I just don't want you to tell me anything about it. I want this product to talk to me." So that, for me, is one of my biggest tips for Glee, because, you have someone coming on explaining what this product will do, and you think, "Oh, well, that's great," but actually you've got to get there through the packaging. The packaging can't do that. It's not going to sell it in the garden sectors.
Yeah. So that's a huge thing, isn't it, that you're saying? So you're basically saying you got to get your product packaging and messaging absolutely spot on before you come to Glee, and let the packaging do the talking.
Yeah. No, that's for me my biggest tip for Glee.
Hi, I'm Fran Barnes. I'm the Chief Executive of the HTA. Everybody's welcoming. Everybody wants to share knowledge. So come with a ready hand to shake with people, and an inquisitive mind, a smile, and make connections and build relationships. Speak to as many people as possible. Talk about what you're doing if you're a business, what you're doing that is innovative or that is different or sustainable in the future, and just make those connections going, because business relies upon it, and our sector does rely upon people knowing each other and supporting each other through it. But, everybody knows that. So I'd say a ready smile, a handshake, comfortable shoes.
Something that the Americans do very well. They are incredibly good at starting conversations, as we know. but they're also incredibly good at ending conversations. And in the UK, we never know when to say goodbye. We're very kind of like, oh, I gotta go. And they're really like, yeah, great to meet you. And they move on. And you just need to get into the habit of that. And it is more confident than rude because it's just efficient and you just need to move on. And I think I see, especially with some of like the newer influencers, but like I could see them get completely cornered by salespeople. And really, like those sales conversations should be 4 or 5 minutes max, because if you need to find out more at a later date, you've got it on the web, you've got it on socials, you've got that contact with a business card. You know, it's not using your time wisely to kind of chat for longer. And I think, you know, we all know there's a point in a conversation where it's kind of done and you're kind of then just reiterating and kind of recapping. So that's the point where you're like, great to meet you. But you should have like an alarm go off on your phone or like, oh, gotta answer.
Hi, my name's Elaine Gotts. I'm a product development manager and also look after the research station at Levington for Evergreen Garden Care. Well, I think in addition to the obvious sensible shoes, I would say move around. Don't stand in one place. Move around. If you've got a big stand, that's great. Walk around it, or have a sort of wander around and chat to other people as well if they're not coming to you, and just make the most of it, because it really is a great opportunity to meet up with lots of different people, have some really interesting conversations, and you never know where they'll lead. So don't just sort of stand and hope people will come to you, but just sort of have a chat and see what happens.
Hi, I am Steve Harper. Well, I'll give you my tip. It might not be for everybody, but before Glee every morning, I get up and go for a run, do a 5K.
Wow.
Because it just wakes me up and gets me going for the day. Glee is really tiring, being on your feet for that amount of time for winter. And I just find actually get up, get moving, wake myself up with a run. That's me started well for the day.
Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah. That's good. I don't know if many people would take that one on board, Steve, no. I have to say, especially if they've been out the night before.
Exactly.
Hi, I'm Ellen Mary. I'm an author, broadcaster, and nature therapist. Take with you a priority list, because when you go to these shows, you will always get drawn in talking to people. You won't get round everywhere. You'll come away and then you'll look on social media and see photos and think, I didn't see that. Or where was that? Or who was that? So have a priority list, like a top 5, 6, however many that you will go to first. And don't be distracted. Just go to those first and then let the rest of the day, flow. Something that I do in any circumstance, so that's whether I'm hosting at shows, whether I'm at shows, whether I'm at a trade show, is I take myself away every now and again, which might just involve a trip to the loo, but just breathe for a minute, check your priority list, have I seen these people, and then go back outside again and drink lots of water.
And don't drink too much coffee. That is a mistake. But at a point where you can't feel your legs, you had too much.
Hi, I am Kimberly Hornby George from Hornby George PR Limited. I jokingly always say have a cupboard to cry in. Which quote, though, from a PR perspective, you kind of got to be in it to win it. And if you are going to be in it, don't just say you've got a product. Give us some context. So as the PR person for Glee, like I say, I get bombarded all year with press releases from people saying, we're going to be at Glee and here's a press release. And, it's just, we're coming to Glee, we've got a product. Great. But as a retailer, yes, absolutely, newness is incredibly important. That's why our retailers are coming to Glee. They're looking for newness. They're looking to build relationships, etc. But if you've got a new product, tell me about it. Like I say, be your own cheerleader. So don't be ashamed to sort of say, this has taken us X amount of time to get it together. We spent this amount of money on it. This is where it's going to sit in the marketplace. It solves a problem that we didn't even know needed solving, or whatever that might be. Really give it its features and benefits is really, really important. Engage with the PR early. So don't just wait until you know exactly what you're going to be doing at the show. If you're coming to the show, just talk to us. Just let us know that you're coming, because it might be, actually, we can talk about trends, or it might be that you are, entirely new to the sector, and we can talk about your journey around that. But yeah, it's just trying to engage with as much stuff as you possibly can. Definitely have a cry cupboard. And so trade shows are hard. Like Glee is a busy couple of days, really busy couple of days. But I think it's also, it's not really a survival tip, but it's don't expect everything to come to you as well. That's one thing I will say. So don't sit in your stand reading a newspaper, because no one can stop. You've got to be engaged, and I know it's tiring, and it's absolutely fine to take a seat and have a coffee and do all of that. But people have invested so much money to be there for 3 days. Make the most of it. And like I say, come and ask us questions, speak to the Glee team. If you don't know who the media is for the show, ring us and ask us, But yeah, I think from a survival point of view, it's make the most of it. Like, don't be scared, don't be shy. Which I'm probably going to regret that, saying that.
You'll be bombarded now.
You'll be bombarded more so than that. But yeah, I mean, trade shows are just, like I say, they're absolutely brilliant. And Glee's just, what a couple of days that is. So just make the most of it and have a cry cupboard.
That's great advice. As you said, why pay all that money? Be there and then just expect, everyone to come to you. Yeah. I've seen people just sitting on their stands, scrolling through their phones, not engaging. So yeah, that's a great one.
Guy Jenkins from Johnson's Lawn Seed, DLF Seeds, top tips for Glee. It's very simple, actually. It's preparation and follow-up. But it's also about surrounding yourself with a good team. I'm very fortunate to have that. You've got to have a great coffee making, and you've got to have fun. so those are my top tips. Really, if you have customers coming onto your stand and they're met with people having a good day, they're smiling, they're welcoming, enjoying themselves, who can resist? That's what we need. So we ensure that we have a good time, responsibly, of course. And people are very welcome, and it's noticeable that people enjoy coming onto the stand. So yeah, that's the top tip.
Hello, I'm Debbie Holland. I'm a professional gardener and garden writer. My hot tip, which is not surprising, is take photos. Photos are really my memory bank, because you can everything. You're talking 19 to the dozen. You're looking at lots of different people, talking with trade show stands, looking at plants. It's impossible to remember every single thing just off the cuff when you get home. So I use my photos as a brilliant log of what I've seen.
I think that's a great tip, actually. So, Leah, let's just do a quick selfie. But that's really good, because then you remember, that's who you are.
Yeah.
It's true, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
because you think,
so
no, I'll remember that. And you just don't. And then someone
No.
contacts you and says, do you remember blah, blah, blah? I think, no. Now, that is a good tip.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Hi, this is Boyd Douglas Davis from the Boyd Partnership. Don't go for the fashion, go for the comfort. Get there early, be there when the doors open, because I always feel I always think you need all 3 days of Glee. You need the full time there. Well, if you try to squeeze your visit into a day or 2 days or a day and a half, say you don't get there till lunchtime on day one and you're leaving at the end of day two, do you really have time to speak to all those exhibitors, really get your head around what their messaging is, what their new product is? Do you have time to go back and check on something later? And if you don't, what happens when you go back to the office? Everything else happens and you get distracted and you've maybe not made your decisions. So I always think, allow the full time. And if you end up finishing at 3:00 on the last day, well, lovely, you finished an hour early, haven't you? But don't try to rush it, because I often see people, they go around the show and they go where they know, which of course is good, because you want to go and see the people you know. But there is so much at the show in the smaller exhibitors. And I think you need to almost start one day and say, right, say day 2, I'm starting in the small exhibitor area, the new people. So I think last year at the show, there was 119 new exhibitors, I think, last year, who'd never exhibited at Glee before. Well, you can't get round them in half an hour, can you? So that's why I say, allow the full time, but have your comfy shoes on. Because I always find I'm racing around on the last day, particularly. And That's my thing. And I always start off by going to the new product awards area, because that gives you a bit of a snapshot of, if somebody's got something they're proud enough to put into the new product awards, then they're going to have something pretty good. And you need to go and take a look at that. So at least when you find their stand a few hours or a day later, you've got that in the back of your head that, I want to talk to you about that new, whatever it is. So start there, get there early, get straight into the new products, see them, and also make sure you walk every aisle. It's too easy to skip an aisle because you don't think there's anything down there.
Yeah.
And yet you might just find the little nugget.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Will Scott. I work at Heart of Eden as their team leader and training manager. Well, I can think of three things that work for me. The first one is choose a great hotel and book it early.
Ah, good one.
Then, within your lovely hotel, make sure you eat a really big breakfast because there won't be time. The last comment I have is, at the end of the day, when you finish, get straight into the pool or the spa as quick as you can and charge yourself ready for the next day nice and early.
That's great tips. We've not had any of those before.
No, fantastic.
Love it.
I can get on board with your tips, I think.
Yes. And you didn't mention comfortable shoes. We like that.
Oh, no. I think if your posh shoes are too comfortable, they're probably not posh enough.
And eat pasties.
Eat pasties.
Because that's the best food in the NEC, is the Cornish pasty shop. It's well worth the walk.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, could I ask a small favour? Please take the time to review the show and share us with your colleagues. It really does make a difference and will help others to find us too. To keep up to date with the latest happening from the Underground, or sign up to our email newsletter at theunderground.fm. I'm Kate Turner, the Gardener Guru. I'm a horticulturist, garden consultant and presenter. To find out more, check out my website at gardenerguru.co.uk.
And I'm Phil Wright, the founding partner of Wright O'Bara, a creative marketing agency specialising in the home and garden sectors. Find out more at wrightobara.com.